Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 4 English lesson on antonyms. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts, grade 4. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of antonyms. All right, so this is a continuation of our previous lesson where we did antonyms and we had to choose the antonym, and we also had to say which antonym uses or which sentence uses the antonym. So this is now a continuation of our previous lesson, and then we're going to end off our lesson with finding antonyms in context. All right. So we said that our chapter is firstly antonyms. Our subject is English language arts, grade 4. And in the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of antonyms is which sentence uses an antonym, and we're going to find antonyms in context. All right. So we see that antonyms are words with opposite meaning, right? So it's words with opposite meaning. And when it comes to antonyms, right? Like we said, it basically it is words with opposite meaning. An example is we have big and little. So it's either something is big or the opposite of big is it is little, or big and small, right? So that is the opposite. If we also look at the opposite of, let's say, of mother, what is the opposite of mother? So the opposite of mother is father, right? Think of when you're sad, right? Think of when you're sad. But now, if you're not sad anymore, right? What is the opposite of sad? The opposite of sad. And yes, so father. And then the opposite of sad. If you're not sad anymore, then how are you feeling? So it is happy. Because if you're not sad anymore and then you're happy, or the opposite of happy is sad, right? If I am laughing now, right? But now someone hurts my feelings, and then what am I going to do? The opposite of laughing. Yes, so the opposite of laughing is crying. So now, these are just a few examples of antonyms, right? And antonyms are words with opposite meaning, right? We said we have big, the opposite of big is little, the opposite of mother is father, the opposite of sad is when you're happy, the opposite of laughing is crying, right? But now, can you also think of more words that basically have an opposite meaning? Give me the word, and then you also give me another word that is the opposite of that word. Or should I give a word and you give the opposite of that word? Like, for example, inside. What is the opposite of inside? What is the opposite of up? Let's go with white. We need to find the opposites of these words. So inside, the opposite of inside. If something is heavy, what is the opposite of heavy? If I go to the shop, right, the opposite of to sell something, right? To sell something. Think of sleep. Yes, so inside, the opposite is outside. Yes, well done. Up is the opposite is down. Well done. We have black. Beautiful. Opposite of white is black. Heavy. The opposite of heavy is light. Sell. The opposite of sell is to buy something. And asleep. The opposite of asleep is awake. Yes, well done. So these are a few examples of antonyms. It is words with opposite meaning, right? It is words with opposite meaning. It's either you're inside or you're outside. It's either you are cold, or what is the opposite of cold? It's either you are tall, or what is the opposite of tall? It's either you are a girl or you a what? It's either you are wet or you are what? The cup is either empty or the cup is you are either before me or you are you are either rich or and you're either old or That is a few more words of antonyms. Yeah, so it's either you're cold or you're hot or warm, depending. You're either tall or short. Well done. It's either a girl or it is the boy. Well done. You are either soaking wet or you are extremely dry. The glass or cup is either empty or the glass is full. You are either standing before me or you are after me, and you're either rich or poor, you either old or you young. Yes, well done. Well done. So these are once again words with the opposite meaning, right? And we call them antonyms. Antonyms are words with the opposite meaning. So they have the opposite meaning. And when it comes to antonyms, right, it is you basically find it is not words with the same meaning at all, it's words with the opposite meaning. All right, so now we're going to aplusstudents.ca. So now we're going to aplusstudents.ca and we are going to do our first lesson, and that is to say which sentence uses an antonym. So which sentence uses an antonym? All right, so we said antonyms are words with opposite meaning, and we made an example of big, little, and we made also a few other more examples, right? But now, if we look at this one, this activity, it says we need to read the sentence and select the sentence that uses an antonym in place of the word in bold. An antonym in place of the word in bold. So it says camp started on a sunny day in June. So now look at this word sunny. We need to find the opposite of sunny. So we need to find the opposite of sunny. If it is not sunny, and then it is what? If it's not sunny, and then it is what? All right. So if it's not sunny, we need to find the opposite. Then we can say camp started on a cloud. Yes, camp started on a cloudy day in June, right? Which means that the opposite of sunny is then cloudy. Okay, you can also say a rainy day. You can say cloudy or you can say rainy because basically the opposite of it being sunny is either cloudy or rainy. Because if we were to say the opposite of rainy, we would say it is sunny. So yes, so you can either say it is cloudy or we can say it is rainy. So well done. All right, it says, did Dalton find his jacket? So did Dalton find his jacket? We need to say the opposite of find. Replace that word find with the opposite word. The opposite of find. All right, so if we were to say, did Dalton find his favorite jacket, then we can basically ask, did Dalton lose his favorite jacket? Because you either find it or you lose it. The opposite of finding something is losing something. So if you lose something, then it means that we are going to search to find something. So that is the opposite of it. So well done. Lose is correct. Let's look at the last one, then we're going to our test. It says, I always forget to take out the garbage on Tuesday night. Forget. The opposite of forget. If you don't forget about something, then you what? So the opposite of forget. If I don't forget something, then it means that I have a good memory and then I read. So forget. All right. So if you forget something, right, the opposite of forgetting something is to remember something, right? Or if I don't remember something, then I forget something, right? So that is correct. So well done. That is the opposite of, or let's say that is the antonyms, right? So now we're going to our test where we are going to say which sentence uses an antonyms. It says we need to read the sentence and select the sentence that uses an antonym in the place of a word in bold. It says Rona hopes to receive many cards on Valentine's Day this year. So Rona hopes to receive many cards on Valentine's Day this year. What is the opposite of receive? The antonym or the opposite of receive. Do we say Rona hopes to make many cards on Valentine's Day? Or do we say Rona hopes to send many cards on Valentine's Day? So we need to choose the correct one, the correct antonym. All right. And if we were to choose the correct one, the word that is an antonym or the word that uses an antonym in the place of the word, then we would say, remember, the opposite of receiving is to send, right? Or if I don't send, then I receive. So sending is correct. So well done. Send is correct. It says the cupboards in Mrs. Brady's kitchen are quite messy inside. The cupboards in Mrs. Brady's kitchen are quite messy inside. So messy, what is the opposite of messy? Is it the is it option one that says the cupboards in Mrs. Brady's kitchen are quite damp inside? Or option two, it is quite neat inside. Damp option one or neat option two. The opposite of messy. So, opposite of messy. Yes. So, the opposite of messy, we can say it is clean. Because if a place is not messy, it is clean. Or if you don't keep, your space clean, then it becomes messy. So, well done. All right. So, this says the sheriff had a smile on his face as he rode away on his horse. What is the opposite of smile? Is it option one, the sheriff had a frown on his face as he rode away on his horse, or the sheriff had a mask on his face as he rode away on his horse? So the opposite of smile. The opposite of smile. All right. So yes, if you are not smiling, then you are frowning. Because that is the opposite of smiling. We need to say Mr. Ramsey likes to exercise downstairs. Mr. Ramsey likes to exercise downstairs. What is the opposite of downstairs? The opposite of downstairs. If you don't exercise downstairs, then where are you exercising? The opposite of downstairs. Is it often or is it upstairs? The opposite of downstairs. Is it often or is it upstairs? And the opposite of downstairs, yes, it is upstairs. So well done. It says, sorry, do you hate pumpkin pie like I do? Hate is a very strong word, but hate. What is the opposite of hate? Is opposite of hate option one, do you love pumpkin pie like I do? Or option two, do you sell pumpkin pie like I do? The opposite of hate pumpkin pie. Is it love pumpkin pie or sell pumpkin pie? All right, so if we were to choose the opposite of hate, and like I say, hate is a very strong word, right? Hate is a very strong word. So the opposite of hate is to love, right? And love is the opposite of hate. So well done. We are now going to find antonyms in context, right? We're going to find antonyms in context. And of course, we said antonyms are words with opposite meaning, right? The meanings is opposite. So we said antonyms are words with opposite meaning, and we made an example of big, little, love, hate, black, white, right? So it says that we need to find the antonyms in context. And if we find the antonyms in context, right, then it means that we will either have sentences or we will have words, and we will just have to find the opposites of those words. Like over here, where it says, Heather pulled the covers up to her chin and fell asleep. Her mom was still awake and kissed her on the forehead. We need to find the opposite in that same sentence or the next sentence about sleep. All right, and the opposite of asleep is to be awake. Like now, you are awake, but later on, you will be asleep. All right, so it's opposite. It's either asleep or I'm awake. It's either I run or I walk. All right, now let's go to our test. All right, and we said asleep and awake. To leave. If you leave, what is the opposite of leave? It says the astronauts will leave tomorrow. The astronauts will leave tomorrow. Do you know when it will arrive on the moon? And we need to find the opposite of arrive, of leave, sorry. The opposite of leave. So we can say the opposite of to leave is to arrive. So it's either you're leaving or you're arriving, right? So it's either you arriving or you are leaving. So well done. All right, so now we're going on to our test. And the test is where we need to select the antonym of the words in bold. So we need to select the antonym of the words in bold. It says the crackers are in the cupboard above the stove. The peanut butter is below the sink. We need to find the opposites. So the opposite of above, is it below or is it sink? The opposite of above. If something is not above you, and the opposite of above, right? It is if you're not above someone, then you are below. Yes, and below is correct. Well done. The next one says last week JC was sick and he had a high temperature. Sick. This week he is finally healthy again. What is the opposite of sick? Is it weak? So sick. What is the opposite of sick? All right. And if you are not sick anymore, then you are fit as a fiddle, and we say that you are healthy. So well done. If you're not sick, then you're healthy. Or if you're not healthy, then you are getting sick. So well done. Healthy is correct. Did Lily receive my birthday card? I send her one every year. So, did you receive the opposite of receive? If you don't receive something, do we say one? Did Lily want my birthday card or did Lily send my birthday card? The opposite of receive. And yes, the opposite of receiving something is to send another card. And the opposite of receiving, because if you don't receive something, then you are sending something. If you don't send something, you are receiving something. All right, let's do the last one. The last one says, I may forget people's names. So I may forget people's names. All right, and I may forget people's names, but I always remember faces. And if we were to find the opposite of the word forget, and then we say it is remember. So it's like, oh, I just remember, or I forgot. And right. All right. So this is now the end of our lesson on antonyms. Thank you very much for joining the class. You must have a good weekend further. Be safe and till next time. Goodbye. All right. So we said remember is correct. All right. So this is now the end of our lesson on antonyms. All right. We said antonyms are words with opposite meaning, right, to one another. Right. It is the opposite. I remember something or I forget something. For example, right? It's either black or it's white, and so on. So antonyms are words that has the opposite in meaning. All right. So this is the end of our lessons. Thank you very much, grade 4.